YouTube. I'm here today to talk about genres and the importance of terminology in literature. And please stick around. The title seems a little blah, but I'm trying not to make it boring. I just really want this to be talked about. I think it's a really important issue. Yes, so please stick around. When you work in a field, you should be aware of the terminology and language used in that field, right? Well, for example, if I was an electrician, I should know what wattage and ampage and voltage and other edges that I don't know because I'm not an electrician. You should be aware of those. I think the same should be expected of a writer. I expect good writers, well-known writers, prominent writers to have an understanding of the different genres and terminologies associated with their field. So why is terminology and genre knowledge important for writers? Well, firstly, we're part of the community. As in any field, it is easier to navigate and communicate with others in your occupation if you are familiar with the lingo. You know, when an author says their work is magical realism, you as a fellow author should be able to then, one, recognize the term, and two, know the implications of said term. If you mention that the characterization in such and such a book is only two-dimensional, your colleagues should be able to grasp this. Lingo, or terms for aspects of your career, genre definitions, etc., are an integral part of the book community, not only for writers, but for readers as well. I mean, there's a whole field of study dedicated to terminology in literature. You know, and most of these terms that we use have been settled for decades, if not for centuries. And yes, I know they're evolving quite a bit, but there are set definitions for them. So I think authors refusing to educate themselves about genre definitions and terminology are not only hurting themselves, but are actually hurting other writers. So when a well-known author, such as maybe Margaret Atwood or Ishiguro, make comments that deride one genre and then try to appropriate another genre without really knowing what either one really means, it not only spreads ignorance among readers, who should also be educating themselves, by the way, but it also hurts their colleagues. And nobody likes someone who keeps stepping on their feet and pinning them down, you know, especially if you work in the same field. Secondly, genre affects all aspects of a writer's life. Certain awards, for example, are given to specific genres. So, for example, the Hugo Award is awarded to science fiction writing. And some books may not be considered for other awards because of the snobbery spread by people who are ignorant of genres and terminologies, and the prejudices against certain genres without really assessing it along the same line as other books. Marketing and demographics is also affected by genre and terminology. An author has to make money, and being aware of the genres and terminology allows them to market their book to appropriate ways. So for example, if I know that a book is a fantasy, I'm going to market it differently than I would a nonfiction biography. But if I wasn't aware of the differences, then I could lose out on some potential marketing platforms. Certain books appeal to certain demographics as well. You can miss out on a whole lot of potential readers if your book isn't marketed to proper demographics. Even simple things affect genre and sales, such as, you know, where do I put this book in the bookstore? Where do I put it in the library? What section does it go in? You know, because certain people are drawn to certain sections and stuff like that. Genre and terminology affect, at the basic level, they affect their livelihood. So if we have people that are doing what they love and struggling to make a living out of it, why do we accept that some more well-known authors are putting other genres down and hurting the livelihoods of these authors? Because that's what they're doing. They're being mean, they're being bullies because of their refusal to educate themselves and their misunderstanding of genre and their misunderstanding of terminologies. So why don't some authors bother getting to know their field? It really bothers me. It really confuses me. If you have any answers to this, please let me know. And educate yourselves. And remember to keep on reading.